What's up, guys? It's Mac Deno Dee. I'm from Hawaiian Gardens, California. And this is my story. So, I'm gonna start when I was younger, like in fifth grade. I was living in Hawaiian Gardens, and my mom and dad made a couple of bad decisions, you could say. So we ended up leaving to Moreno Valley about like maybe 2001, and we were supposed to be living with someone out there. Not gonna be putting no names out there like that, but we had to go out there with somebody, and they were gonna help my dad get better, and it ended up going sour. So we didn't have a way back from there, and we lived out in like Moreno Valley, Rubidoux, Riverside, Corona, Paris, Hemet for about like 5-6 years homeless. So we were just in the van, Astro van. We got lucky to get a car eventually, and we were living before that. We were living in like the parks, shelters. I remember bird bathing it at the parks, and that sucks on a Saturday. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's there with their families and doing normal stuff. They say, and trying to bird bath real quick, and there's kids in there looking at you like you know what's going on here. So that was pretty tough too. And I remember one time too, we lived at a church. My dad, my mom, my sister, we lived in there. I thank God they helped us, and we were just kind of hustling, you know, trying to get motel rooms and stuff like that. I remember me and my sister, my mom and dad wake us up like at 5, 4 in the morning, and we would go, you know, dumpster diving. Like, we got to get cans. So, and I was like the one that was more hyper, and I guess maybe because I was the youngest one, I was the one always in the dumpster. So I would go in there, grab a bag, rip it open, throw the cans over. You know, my sister would be right there grabbing them. My dad and his mom would be looking out because sometimes it'd be apartments where you can't be there. You know, so and a lot of times just getting cans out of the trash ain't a crime. You know, but people make it a big thing. And I guess that's just people that don't understand that when you don't have it, you know, you're trying to get it. So. And those are hard times too, because we'd be like in the dumpster, then kids in the morning going to school looking at us, you know, like why are those kids in that trash can? You know, and kids are mean, eh? So I remember them be laughing at us and pointing, and my sister's older than me. She's like 4 years older than me, and she'd be like, hey, just ignore it, just ignore it. You know, but when you're a kid, that really gets to you. So it's just, remember doing stuff like that, and we were living in Moreno Valley, and my mom and dad found more trouble out there, and we went through a bunch of things. You know, like I won't get too detailed on a lot of them, but I remember one time some dude came looking for my brother, but like low key hid about it because my brother had got out of jail and he was staying with us. And this guy came like a friend. He was living there at we finally got a place, and he was there for my brother, you know. And my brother was getting out, and he was trying to find out like his numbers and all this crazy stuff. And we were thinking like, damn, this guy was like, he used to like watch us and like or take us to the store and like hang out with us, and he was literally there to try to find my brother. And another time, some mix up happened with my dad, and they thought he was somebody he wasn't. And I remember they came like 4 vans deep, and they were coming to kill my pop. So, and I was like 12 maybe, you know. So I remember them, you know, calling my mom, and they were like, hey, you know what? We're here for your husband, and you got like a minute to leave because if not, we're gonna, you know, take you guys all out. So in my mind, I'm like looking at my mom like, well, let's go, you know, like they want him, not us. So she was like, nah. She told that fool straight, like, nah, we're staying. And I'm like, damn. So I remember just kind of like praying to myself, thinking like, I hope these guys are just playing, and you know, somebody, thank God, somebody, you know, spoke up and told them who it really was, and it wasn't him. So I remember looking out the window, praying to myself like, I hope they don't get out, because I could see all those fools inside the car just, you know, loading up their, you know, stuff like a movie. And I remember I was like, damn, bro, like we're gonna die out here. And yeah, they took off. So we got lucky with that one. And then I remember after that place we lost, we started staying with some guy out there in Moreno Valley who was like a dealer right there. And he got real close to my parents, and he let us stay there at the apartment. And I remember one time I was in the room with my mom. We were all in one little room with a bunk bed. You know, it was like a little jail cell. My dad, mom, and my sister and me. And I remember we were watching that movie SWAT, right? And I was like sitting there and chilling, and then it was going all crazy. The parts like all this when they started raiding this pad, right? And I remember I was looking at it, and I was looking down at the floor, and I see all these lights under the door, you know, like lasers and flashlights, and I'm like, and I look at the movie and I look at the floor, and I'm like, wait, what the hell? I thought I was tripping out, you know. And then when I went to look to get up, I was gonna open the door, and then bam, the cops came in, the SWAT, and they were all guns on us. I'm like, what the hell? I'm like 12, like 13, you know. And then cops, when they raid a pad, I think in their mentality is like, if these people can have kids here, then why should we care about them, you know? But I mean, in reality, we're children, you know. Like, we're not even part of that. Unfortunately, we just gotta follow our parents to whatever they're doing. So I remember like stuff like that we went through, and then I remember way before that, before we left, we were living in Hawaiian Gardens, and when we became homeless was like, I think it was in 5th grade. But we were at my grandma's in Hawaiian Gardens, then we were at my dad's mom's in Downey, and we were living over there for a little bit. Then we're living in Norwalk. So I've been like in Norwalk, Long Beach, Downey, Bellflower, everywhere. And I remember one time in Norwalk, and this was I was younger, so I guess my parents, you know, they've been doing stuff for a minute. I think I was like, I want to say 6 or 7. And I have a bad memory, but I'll never forget this story right here. And so my brother was doing his things and whatever was going on. So some people came looking for him, and my dad had told them that, hey, he doesn't live here no more. And they were like, well, we need to get a hold of him because, you know, we got some issues. So my dad was like, well, I don't know what to tell you, you know? And he's like, well, then you're going to come with us because so-and-so wants to talk and this and that. And my dad was like, all right, well, I'll be back. My mom was like, where are you going? And they're like, well, the guys were like, hey, he's coming with us. My mom's like, no, he's not. And he's like, unless I go. And he's like, all right, let's go. So my mom tries to grab me. And I'm just right there playing on the floor, you know? So I remember the guy's like, nah, he's staying. So he has some kid. I think my brother's friend, because I knew the kid. So, well, he was like maybe 16, 17. I was younger, but I was comfortable with him because I've seen him around. And I remember he told him to stay with me. And I remember sitting there playing on the floor or whatever. And the kid, he looked so nervous, you know, like he just looked scared. And like a face full of regret. And I remember he's like, hey man, are you hungry? And I was like, yeah, man. He's like, you want some egg sandwiches? So this food makes me egg sandwiches. I'm sitting there eating whatever. And he's sitting at the table and he's just staring at me. And I can remember I was eating and I kept looking at him and he just looked scared. I don't know what it was. And for years, my parents came back. My mom came and she hugged me and she's crying. And I don't understand any of it. And I remember, you know, years go by. And I remember one day something came up and I remember I told my mom, I said, hey mom, you remember that one time? You know, I was eating egg sandwiches. That's why I was eating egg sandwich. And I was like, and I remembered that day and I go, hey mom, I go, remember that one time when this and that? She's like, yeah, why? I was like, well, why were they there? I don't even remember. So I guess turns out some stuff was real bad where my dad had to pay some debt. And they told them, if you don't pay it, then we're going to call homeboy that's there with your son and he's going to kill him. So that made so much sense that kid was there to take me out if they didn't pay the debt, you know. So that was a thing, and I was tripping out. I was like, "Are you serious?" Like, I never understood. For a long time, I used to be mad at my parents because I was like, I don't understand how you can put your kids through stuff like that, you know. Until I became older, and when I started messing around with drugs, and then I had kids, and then I was still kind of like foot in and foot out of trying to be a father and like messing around with drugs. And then I started doing dumb things and your mind really changes and you don't think about stuff like, oh, I can do this and I can do this, but you can't do both. You know, it's either you're sober or you're not. It's either you're going to be a father or you're not, you know, and you can't have your foot in and one foot out. So when I started doing stupid things, I remember every time I did something dumb with drugs, I would call my mom and be like, hey mom, you know what, like, I apologize. And she'd be like, for what? And I'm like, well, I used to be mad at you guys, like, always, because you guys were doing drugs and you would take us to AA meetings when you guys were still doing, you know, being dirty. And then what was I doing in AA meetings because I got a DUI and I had to go and I wasn't clean, but I still went and I was doing the same thing. And it really hurt my heart when my mom went with me. And I remember I was sitting there at the AA meeting and I was like looking around. And I remember the smell of the coffee, you know, the donuts, homies, they're all right there. And I'm listening to every story, and I didn't want to talk because I was like, and in my head, I'm like, I'm good. Like, these fools are tripping. I'm good. But my mom's like, no, I want to be here for you, so you can do that. And I remember I spoke, you know, and I started to cry because I go, you know what's crazy? Is I hated my parents for bringing us to places like this, and now I'm here with my mom. Like, that was a little slap in my face. Like, bro, what are you doing, you know? So my thing with that is never judge a book by its cover and never tell somebody never, or you can't do that, or I'll never do that, because to be honest, like, you never know when you will be doing that, and then you're gonna be the same person that you hated. So I was bad on drugs, and actually I was mixing some stuff, and actually almost, well, I kind of had like an overdose, I guess, because I feel like I died. It just, I got real sick, and I was like sweating and like throwing up, and then had all this pain. And I remember I was like in my sister's pad, and I was in a room that had like no windows, so it was like super dark. And I remember I could hear my sister, my mom, the kids. I could hear like, kids outside, and then it all stopped. I didn't hear nothing, and I felt like relief, and I felt like peace. And I was tripping because I was like, why is it so quiet? And I remember at the foot of my bed, I seen some guy sitting there, well, standing there, like with his hands behind his back, and he was like in a suit, and he was just staring at me. So I was just kind of like, who's this guy? And then he ended up just like looking at me, and then he disappeared. And the moment he disappeared, I came back to either life or whatever I was in. And as soon as I woke up or came out of it, I started like throwing up. I ran outside, and then that's when I was like, you know what, something's like, that's a sign right there, because a lot of people don't make it out of stuff like that. So I stopped doing drugs like that. But so back to when I was homeless, it was hard because when you're a kid, you don't understand certain things, so you just kind of go along with your parents. But I'm actually, if I can go back and change it, I wouldn't, because to be honest, like, I'm like everybody else that's tatted, it looks like me, we're the first people to be judged and pointed at and blamed, but I'm also the first person that, if you need a ride or like the shirt off my back or gas, or like, I'll also do that too. So, because even believe it or not, right now I'm a caregiver, and I'm really helping out older gentlemen who are, Caucasian men that back in the day, they probably wouldn't even be looking at me. We probably wouldn't be on the same street. And now it's a beautiful thing to be able to help them, and they're so nice and cool with me, So I got my first tattoo at 15, and thought I was all chingon. And the only reason I got it too is because my uncle was doing tats, and I told my mom, and she's like, "No, are you crazy? Like, you gonna get one?" I was like, "Mama, get your name, And then she's like, "Really?" So boom, I got it, and that was all I had to say, Then I wanted my sister's name, so I got my sister's name, and my dad was pissed. Like, he's like, "What are you doing?" Like, he's 15. My mom's like, "Oh, he got my name." He's like, "So, like, he's your son. He's 15. Why would he want him to get a tat?" But it was already done. So then I had my sister's name right here, and all the ink just like fell out, like just straight broken to pieces, and it looked like I just like scraped it in my skin. So I was like 15 at the time, and my dad found an opportunity to like get me to stop doing tats, like getting tats. So he said, "Hey, he's like, I'll get your tattoo fixed. I'll take you to a shop, and they'll fix it for you." And I was like, "For real?" And he's like, "Yeah, but on one condition." I was like, "Here it is, Then he goes, "If I get this one fixed, you gotta don't get no tats until you're 18. So I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah." And he's like, "Nah, like, for real?" I was like, "Yeah, yeah." He's like, "Shake my hand." And I already said, "Yeah." He's like, "Shake my hand." So I shook his hand. And I was like, I won't, And he was like, "Promise me." And I was like, "I already shook your hand." He's like, "For real." So I promised him. And then he got it fixed. And I didn't get him. And then when I was 17, he went to prison for like wrong. Let's say he was always in the wrong place at the wrong time, because when they busted him, he wasn't even the person that was supposed to be busted. But he ended up being in there, and that was actually during the times when they raided all of Hawaiian Gardens, and it was like one of the biggest busts in like all of like, I think, Los Angeles or California, because they took a bunch of people in, and we were in that raid, and they had took my dad, and he was supposed to get out, and it was just like prolonging it. So then I turned 18, he was in there. So then I started getting little tats here and there, little tats here and there. So I remember I would talk to him on the phone, and I would tell him, and "I got another tat. And he's like, "Oh, okay, cool." And then he would tell me that, he told me thank you, And he's never really thanked me, and we never really had a good relationship until like my sister left the picture, because, she was daddy's girl, and we didn't really get along. But towards the end, we did. And yeah, he thanked me because he said that he respected me for keeping my word and waiting till I was 18. And the sad thing is that he never saw me tatted like this. So he only saw the two that I had. Yeah, he died in prison. He had a heart attack. So I remember too, we were supposed to go visit him, but at the time I had gotten a warrant or something for some stuff that, I think it was like tickets or some dumb stuff. my mom had one, my sister. Like, how stupid is that? So we couldn't go visit this guy because he was in federal prison. So apparently, I mean, either way we went, they probably would have tried to get us for stupid stuff. So we never really went. And I was always like, nah, don't trip that. You're gonna get out. You're gonna get out. You're gonna get out. And he never did. So that one. After that, I got tatted like every week. I was working at a warehouse at JCPenney's warehouse in Buena Park, right there off the 91. I know a bunch of vatos that work there, and I just every week, every check I went and got tatted, and I was fully blasted from my hands up here, my chest, my back. I don't have my stomach. Before I was 19, and crazy thing is like when my dad died, I never really talked about it or like told, I really cried about it or nothing. So crazy thing, one of my good homeboys, Mikey. Shout out to that fool, because when I was homeless again as a teenager, he took me in. He told me because someone had asked me about that if I had coped with it or how I did it, and I was like, no, I don't think I don't think I did. And he was like, bro, like you got tatted, like that's what you were doing, because that's what I did to, I guess, hide the pain. And and it was hard for my mom because she was with him. I never seen real love in my life, but shit.
Okay.
I think the one thing, like when my dad passed and it hurt my mom so much, I think it hurt me the most because I know that my mom's been through a lot of stuff. This story is gonna be for women that are going through stuff with men that or things that they're doing they shouldn't be doing, and it's not okay. And try to find your way out of it, because I've been through a lot of stuff, and I heard a lot of women that get beat or raped, and it's messed up, because everybody's quiet about it. It's like normalized, So, so when I was living at that mobile home in Norwalk, my dad got busted, and one of his good friends. And the sad thing is, a lot of times, bad things happen to you. It's in your own backyard, and you gotta be careful because you're always worried about people in front of you, but a lot of times it's people behind you. So he got busted. So my mom was like, I don't know how we're gonna pay rent right here, and what we're gonna do. So one of his friends had came, and he was like, oh, we couldn't get a hold of him. That phone was out. Like we had nothing. So my dad couldn't tell us nothing. So this guy comes, tells my mom like, hey, you know what? I talked to Ray. He said to come get you guys. You guys can stay with me till he gets out. And so he helped us pack whatever. My mom's like, well, that's one of his best friends. So we ended up living with this guy. And that time I think I was like 7, and we went over there. It was good for like maybe a week or 2, and then this guy he went from being like a guardian angel to the devil. And I remember he changed the locks so we couldn't leave when he went to work on the windows. And he started abusing my mom. And he started raping her. And I remember we could hear. And I remember I would try to stop him. And he'd throw me in a room that had no windows. There was just it looked like a baby mattress on the floor with like a sheet. And he would throw me in there for like a week or a couple of days. And I couldn't get out. And the crazy thing is, because of this, there was like a painting of a shark on the wall, just like in the sea or something. And because of that, I still have like, I don't want to say a fear of sharks, but whenever I see like a shark movie or like a shark thing, I get like chills, like Oscar, So he would leave me in the room and I could hear him, raping my mom and, beating her ass. And I remember my sister would sit under the door because that's the like little crack that I could see, and she would talk to me. She would talk to me and tell me it'll be okay and we'll get out. And thanks to her, she helped me out a lot of times. And we did escape. Sad to say escape. And I remember we went to a shelter, and that motherfucker came and got us. And we went back. And I was in the room again, and he was doing what he was doing. And I mean, thank God I didn't hurt my sister. But finally, one of his friends came and he was kind of like looking around, looking at us, and we just were scared. And he told my mom, he was like, hey, what's going on? And she told him, and he was like, well, don't worry, I'm going to come tomorrow and I'll get you guys out. So thanks to that man, he came and got us out and dropped us off at my grandma's. And yeah, that was hard. And that really messed me up for a minute. Because a lot of times with boys, when their dad's not around, you got to be the man. And I couldn't help my mom. That really messed me up. So when I grew up, I got real attached to my girl cousins, and I would protect them, and I was real overprotective and with my sister. And now I have a daughter, and forget about it. I don't trust anybody. But for you women that are going through something like that, it's not your fault. And for those kids that are going through it, it's not your fault. But you should try to tell somebody, because a man like that ain't never gonna change. And so many sorries until the day that and then just be careful, because like that man wasn't even my mom's boyfriend; he was my dad's friend. And then the worst part too, my dad got out. He found out, and he would argue with my mom and be like, "Oh, you loved when he did what he did to you," and he didn't even believe my mom that he raped her. And then hearing my dad tell my mom that me and my sister are like really, man? Like we heard it, So when we got older, he did it again. He said it again to my mom, and me and my sister were like, Dad, can we talk to? And he was like, well, we need to talk to, because every time you bring that up, you open up old things for us too. And Mom didn't leave with him because she wanted to be with him. She left with him because he said what you said and we couldn't get a hold of you. So what we're going to do, I'm like, oh, so we were there when he hurt Mom. You weren't. So you can't be blaming her. It's your fault. You should have been there with us too, because you're doing your dumb stuff, and look what happened. So he stopped too. But when he was doing his drugs on my mom, and I'm real strong about not hitting women. And for you guys out there, because I had made a post and a couple of you youngsters try to justify it. There's no reason to hit a woman. You just don't, just walk away. Just walk away. I mean, if you got to push on the bed, just walk away, because it's not worth it to be putting your hands on a woman. Like, you got a mother, you got a daughter, sister, a tia, grandma, And for the women too, that you guys, some of you provoke it, don't be trying to hit a guy or just leave it. It's not worth it, guys. But yeah, my dad would beat my mom, and they would fight, and because they were high. And I remember when we were living in our van, he would beat her ass in the van, and I mean, where are we gonna go, And we don't got a room to run to. We were in Moreno Valley, we had no family, and there's no cell phones, so who are we gonna call? So I'm real big on that. Like, I don't tolerate that shit. So but yeah, there's a lot more stuff that I've been through, but now we can focus on what I'm doing now to what I'm doing now. It's not to forget where I came from at all. Like, I don't do what I do now to forget. It's because of what I went through is why I stay doing what I'm doing now. You know what I mean? So, and sometimes, life gets hard and you just want to give up. But for me, I use my past because I know how bad it can be. And I know right now it's not as bad as it used to be. So, excuse me. But right now, I just hit 24,000 followers on Instagram. And it's nuts because I was in a relationship for 6 years and with the mother of my kids. And I mean, I did a lot of stupid shit, and she did. And it was a bad relationship towards the end. But one of the things is that she didn't really believe in me with what I was trying to do. It was like doing music and editing videos and like doing flyers, or I was just trying to, I felt like I was digging for oil, and like eventually one of these holes was going to give, but she just couldn't get behind me with it, so I stopped doing my stuff, and I just kind of just gave up on my dream. So once we let it go, I was like, you know what, like, I'm not getting any younger. this is my time. I'm not trying to be on TikTok 80 years old doing dances and stuff, you know? So I just got back on it and I just started doing workout videos at first. And then I was doing like jokes of the day and my TikTok just blew up. And then I lost my TikTok because of my mouth because it's real sensitive. So I was saying a lot of dumb things. So I had to make a new one. And then that's when my Instagram just like started popping up. And the one video that was real big is I had a video with some socks or something, a real long socks, like the higher the sock, the downer the fool, and just being a fool, you know. And that one it's about to hit 2 million right now because thanks to George Lopez, he shared it, and I was tripping out like, what? Like this is about to share my stuff, you know. And yeah, like a lot of people are sharing it, and it's just like I was like, you know what, like this is something I can do. And like now I'm doing stand up. I actually did my 4th show, and I did that one sober. Because I was doing the first 3, I was like buzzing it and trying to just like ease it, you know. And so the first 3 were like kind of easy for me. So this last one was super hard. Like I thought it was like my first day in high school or something because I was sober and I was clear minded and I was like thinking like, oh damn, like what am I gonna do? But thanks to the homegirl Daisy Rocks, she gave me some good advice and it helped me get up there. But yeah, I've been sober for since Christmas Eve, and I know it's a lot of people are like, that ain't a long time, but for me, sheesh, that's a long time. And you had mentioned that what got me sober is my life is going good now, and that was something that was gonna ruin it, and I didn't want to self-sabotage myself because I can go do this and still go to work. And like I said, you can't have your foot in and foot out. You know, and I'm a caregiver now, so that's a good job for me. I just got into a relationship with a great woman. Just the other day, I was blessed with $400 from a random man. I went to the ATM because I was off of work for like 4 months. So I was behind on bills, and I was like, man, I got to try to pay some bills right now. So I went to the Los Alamitos, the Southland Credit Union. And if anybody knows a white older man who goes to that bank, please send him my way because I didn't get to get his name, hug him or nothing. So I went up there, I saw him right there, and I just interact with people because I know the way I look. And a lot of times when you just see other people that don't look like you, they just get nervous and get scared. So right away I'm like, hey, how you doing? He was like, hey, I'm good, man. We're just chatting it up. The ATM wasn't working for me. He asked me, and I was like, oh, it's not working. He's like, oh, you can use mine when I'm done, whatever. So he went his way. I went to the other one. And then he was in his car, like, for a minute just watching me. And I was like, damn, this fool's acting like the narc or something. Like, he acts like he owns the bank, you know? So he was just staring at me, and I'm like, damn, what's this fool doing? So then I started walking away. And he was like, hey, man, like, he's like, how much do you need? And I was like, what do you mean? He goes, no, you said you didn't have the money. I goes, no, I was trying to put some money in the bank because I have to pay my card payment. I go, I was like 20 days late. I don't want them to take it. And he was like, 20 days late? I go, yeah, man, I just got a job. I'm a caregiver. And then thank God I had my scrubs on because I wasn't lying, you know. And then he was like, a caregiver. And I was like, yeah, for veterans. I help veterans out. And he was like, where? I was like, all around Orange County. So he was like, well, how much is your car payment? And I was like, it's $420. And this guy literally just like, here's the $400. And I was like, what the heck? And then I instantly got teary-eyed, you know, like, wait, what's going on, you know? And then he like hopped in his car and I didn't even say anything. He just took off, and I'm not gonna lie, I cried my ass off like 30 minutes in my car because honestly, I'm doing better now, but in my mind, I feel like I don't deserve it because of things that I've done and the life that I lived and just the things that my parents were putting us in. And I just always felt like I wasn't worth it. So for some random man to care like that, and then a white man, you know, I know everybody talks about race, but it's reality of what it is, you know, like, and for him to just give me that with no questions asked, and I'm struggling. I mean, everybody is, you know. So when he did that, I hadn't cried that much since the first day I left my kids, and when that happened too, that was hard for me, you know. But yeah, I'm getting blessed right now. Like one of my patients, I take care of him. He doesn't have a leg, and I literally have to like shave his face, help him with his brush his teeth. I take him to the shower. I have to put him in. I shower him and everything. And, we got we talk. So he was telling me that he had a restaurant in Newport Beach that he owns. And he asked me if I like, seafood. And I told him, yeah. And he literally told me, he goes, hey, when you want, take my number. You can go and call me and, I'll hook you up. So I went on, yesterday? And I went there. He put my name on the list and he paid for my whole meal. And in my head, I'm like, why? Because like I said, I still feel like I'm not worth it. And I got to work on that, because nobody can make you feel like shit but you. You know what I mean? And I'm here to say that if you're in something and you think that you deserve to be in it and it's bad, you don't. And you can make a change. And if you got kids, especially, because I hated myself for 2 years when me and my kid's mom split, because I was a big part of that split. And sometimes I wish like, damn, I could have just shut my mouth or maybe suck it up and let her be the way she wanted to, and I could have my kids that night. Because if you guys have a family and you're with your kids and your wife or your girlfriend, whatever it is, if you can fix it, like fix it. Because I'm telling you, you think maybe arguing with her if she's asking you questions is bad. Going home to an empty bed is worse, and you don't got your kids. So I do this for them, whatever the caregiving. So I have a side job, businesses. I'm trying to make it, and I'm gonna make it. So, like I said, for you guys that think that life's gonna stay the way it is right now, it's really up to you to make that change. Because if you have that mentality that nothing's gonna go good, it's gonna stay like that. You make it into existence. All that negativity is gonna keep you down. And like I said, we're our only worst enemy. So like I said, look at me. People, I was they asked me to come on this interview. I was like, what? I was tripping out, because in my mind, I still don't feel like I'm anybody. Like I'm just a guy just trying to survive and take care of his kids. And when people, like, shout out to the homie Lazy the Barber, man. This guy, I got a haircut from some guy, and I'm not gonna say that place, but that guy messed me up, left me chopped, didn't even blend it, nothing, man. I look like a mental. So thanks to my homie, I hit him up, and he was in Montclair, and I stay in Fullerton right now. And homeboy drove from Montclair to fix my haircut, and he wouldn't even take money from me because he said that he sees what I'm trying to do and he wants to be a part of it. And I still am the hardest on myself because I'm like, why do these people like want to be around me? Because I feel like I just like a bad apple. But that's crazy. And people, I mean, I don't even want to sound like into myself, but people love me. Like everywhere I go, I talk to people, or people recognize me, or people are inviting me and they want me there, or a video, or it's crazy. And because, like I said, people right away they're attached, like they're drawn to me. And I don't see it sometimes because I'm like, what, like why would you want to be around someone that's going to be, maybe he'll fail, because I've tried to be good before and then I just spiraled down and like everybody else, fuck it. It is what it is. But I know right now I'm doing my best. And like I said, I was even somewhere where they were drinking and doing drugs, and I just got up, went to the next room. And I was tripping out because I was so weak to that, because I grew up with finding pipes and baggies and stupid stuff like that, and I thought, well, this is what I'm used to. This is what my parents were doing. This is what they had us around. And, like they said, we have people coming trying to kill us, or my dad. And it's like, this is what I'm doing, and this is what it is. And I never got into the gang because, thank God, get blessing in disguise, we became homeless. So I wasn't kicking it with homies to be into that stuff, but I'm, like I said, when people ask me, I always say Hawaiian Gardens, and if you don't like it, then it is what it is. But that's my hometown. And like I said, I never got into it because I just never needed that type of family, because I had mine, whether we were in the car, the park, shelters, people's garages, people's, back bedrooms, but we were always together, and I think that's why it hurt me so bad when I lost my family with my kids and my ex, because we were homeless and my mom and dad stuck it out. you know. And with me and my ex, we didn't have it all, but I mean, way more than I had when I was growing up. So I know that affected me because the way I grew up, we were always together, and it's a trip. All right, guys. Well, that was some of my story, but I just want to tell you guys before we close it out that if you're feeling alone, or you're feeling afraid, or you're feeling weak, just talk to somebody, anybody. I'm gonna give you my Instagram right now. It's Mac Deno Dee, and if you want to reach out to me, I'll listen. You know, there's people that have hit me up and done that. So, hope you guys have a good one, and that's it.